So
I just
that's
realized you were
helped out a
muted out
lot.
until 2 seconds ago, so I apologize. We should restart this thing.
It's okay.
Everybody,
I
my
did.
name's Doobyis. This is Flying Formation. Here on episode 135 tonight, I am joined by Calgary MC, producer, engineer, and, behind the scenes extraordinaire visionary, Sarafin. Welcome, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of
I
course.
was saying you were trying to pay me to go down the Bow River again, but I don't know what I was thinking doing that last time. I was like, I fell in the water and I was still
Still
maintaining
talking.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm sorry for doing that. Should have gave you some time there.
We probably could have rescheduled if it was a big deal. It was fun. It's a fun story to tell. I've had some laughs about. Yeah, and this one guy was floating down the fucking Bow River. Is the boat deep enough that, like, when you fell in, like, are you swimming or do you
Yeah,
just stand up?
definitely swimming
Okay. Okay.
swimming at a high current.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a frantic situation once you fall in and your float has lost air.
Is that a normal thing people do in Calgary summers? Like,
Oh yeah, oh
float
yeah,
down the bow?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
If you're smart on a hot day, you're going down the bow. You
Sure.
know,
Nice.
they'll check you, but it's like everyone brings a few drinks, some dubs, and has a good time.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. So dude, it's been a while since we spoke though. Like, I think you were just gearing up for the Source Volume 1 last time we talked.
Yep.
You stopped in on stream. Actually, that was the second time you joined me on stream, I think. We talked a little bit about that. And yeah, it was like a freestyle project you put out, just like what, 5 or 6 tracks, something like that.
Yeah, 5 tracks that I made it all on Twitch, made the beats, and then just started freestyling to it, and did the whole like record, chop, go back, record over, chop, and made some pretty good songs.
Yeah.
A lot of them that still connect to this day.
Nice, man. So when we say freestyle, like, I feel like freestyle at this point is a term in hip hop that has little to no meaning without like a detailed description of what that actually means. But uh were the takes that you ended up using like legitimately you sitting there improvising off top or
Yeah, there was a few songs where it was exactly that, but when I say freestyle, I do mean like improving off the top.
okay.
Um, mind you, there were some songs where I wanted to clean it up and say what I meant to say, kind of thing. But for the most part, yeah, it was all improv off the top. That's the definition of freestyle, and anybody that says different is
Yeah.
lying to you.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I
I
would
just
agree, but we see a lot of things posted where it's like this is the whatever freestyle they want to call it, something freestyle, and then I'll listen to it and just be like, dude, I've been around a lot of MCs and I've never seen anybody freestyle that well. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah.
can kind of hear it once you are embedded in the craft of MCing well enough. You can hear when a guy is legitimately making up the lyrics he's saying on the spot. I
Yes
think
and
even
no.
if it's
I mean,
KRS-One or Supernat or somebody like,
yes, there's the inclination that like, hey, he did improv that, but then there's times where people are completely bamboozled by the fact that you just pulled this metaphor and all these rhymes out of thin air.
true.
And that's kind of like my early beginnings as being an MC was just freestyling in high school with all my friends. And of course, being the white kid, a lot of people would make fun of me, clowning me for being this kid that just freestyles everywhere he goes. And I was making songs called Pop Cristal, and I was 16, and it's just like,
Sick.
it didn't really connect. And I think we spoke about that in that post that I shared earlier about just like if it's real, they can smell it from a mile away.
Very true.
But at the time, it wasn't connecting with me. And I had a friend of mine. I'm not sure if I've gone over this with you, but he became like one of the biggest reasons why I took my music career seriously. And we were rapping behind EB Games, and I'm freestyling on like EB Games, CDs lames, and he's just like, "Yo, that was written." He's like, "You waited for this moment," and I'm like, "No, bro." I'm like, "It's off the top," and he kind of got like stern with me, and he like grabbed me, made me look in his eyes, and he's like, "Yo, whatever you do, don't listen to those kids at school. Like, you have talent. Don't you ever give up." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." I'm like, "You're just saying this because you're the homie." And he's like, "No, like, Chris, promise me you won't give up." And from
Damn.
there, we hung out for like 2 weeks straight. Was going back to school, and I had the weirdest case of insomnia. So I go to school. I find out he's trying to get a hold of me, invite me to this party that he was at the night before, and I'm like, damn, wanted to catch up with him. So I go home early from school because I didn't sleep the night before, And the guy that introduced me to him calls me and he says, "Hey, did you hear what happened to Cliff last night?" And I'm like,
Uh,
"No." And yeah, he got murdered.
damn.
And I remember like just feeling kind of numb and just going to Facebook, his memorial page, and writing like a testimonial, like a thank you, and I won't let you down.
Yeah. Damn, man.
Mm,
Has there been a time when you did fall away from music since then? Like, or have you been steady on it since that time?
I think life has taken its time with me in
Yeah.
the sense that it's never left me. The talent, the ability, the the drive to want to create, inspire, and perform has never left me.
Yeah.
But there's been moments where it doesn't align. Like the things that I'm seeing and the I don't know, the light that everyone's fighting for. It just seems overly saturated for everyone to be chasing that one limelight and that one the way it looks. And so for me, there was a lot of moments where I was like, okay, I need to take a step back, figure out what else I can do. And that's where like producer Sarafin came into play. And that's where engineer Sarafin came into play and mentor Sarafin came into play because I wanted to take a step back and just
Yeah.
really evaluate what's in front of me, and I didn't have any of that when I left Calgary at 19.
Do you feel connected to like a chase for the limelight? I hear guys talk about how hard they're chasing to break through or whatever, and I personally I can't really relate. I just I have a tough time. Never in my life have I thought of music as anything other than just like, yeah, it's fun to rap, so I rap. And like,
Yeah,
I put it out to the world in case people want to listen, but like, to really think that you're gonna make a living off of this, that's a hell of a dream, man. I don't know.
it takes a Mamba mentality, so to speak,
Yeah.
and that's why it's so popularized that saying. It's because Kobe Bryant worked so hard to achieve the success he has. So, that recipe as an artist um, exceeds talent.
Yeah.
And a lot of artists will think that, hey, if I'm talented, like, and I make songs all the time, I'm gonna get noticed. I'm gonna blow up. But you learn, like, I knew all about this, but going back to, I was at a writing camp last October with Beat Cave out of Toronto, and so we are in Vancouver, a bunch of artists, working in different rooms. There's like at least 8 rooms with different genres, and artists would just go in and songwrite, record if it hit,
That's dope.
and it was super dope. Met a lot of great artists through that. And when you experience something like that and you look at, all the different layers to this, the music business, like, yeah, I was kind of going in there. I saw my name on the wall as the producer, and I'm like, oh man, like I didn't bring my actual producing computer. So there's going to be a lot of splice samples. But I look around in every other room and all the other producers are using splice. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, I need to be a little bit more easy on myself, you know? And so like, yeah, you get into like say the sync world and we're talking about sync agents versus sync libraries. A sync agent is going to go out there and push your product. But you have to have all the back end stuff like your made metadata, your registration of the song, the publishing, all of that. You have to have different versions of your song. So
Right.
instead of just being like, yo, can I get my mix back from you so I can get it mastered? It's like, no, I need the performance version, I need the radio edit, I need the instrumental, I need the acapella,
Yeah.
and I might even still be missing one.
Yeah, I was
And
just
that's
gonna say, I think, like, don't they want stems basically? But if you're sending
and stems,
instrumental
yeah.
and acapella, then yeah, they can, cut out lyrics and just play the beat for a bit and then bring the lyrics back in if that's what the show needs during the
E
credits or whatever, during some
e
montage.
yeah, exactly, and we watch TV and movies all the time, so we hear what it sees like, we just don't know what it looks like being the artist supplying it.
Yeah.
And then you have sync libraries where you're basically just put in a pool, and that's the harder part, but you don't have that, attachment to, I guess you do, you have certain attachments to certain sync libraries. But then even beyond that, it's like you're learning about different royalties, copywriting, understanding that streaming isn't your be all end all.
Right.
And you just kind of have to laugh when an artist just says, well, you ask them what their plan is, and the plan is, oh, I'm gonna make the song, drop it on Spotify, do a couple TikToks, and then make another song.
Right.
Yes, that's no problem. Do it a few times, but you gotta change. You have to reinvent the wheel every time you do it. And
Yeah,
if you're not doing that, then you're just expecting something different from, in my opinion, for an independent artist, a failed model.
yeah. It seems like there's as much to learn on the business side as there is on the actual, like, art side of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that there is a course someplace out there that somebody could get a degree in, like, entertainment management or something along those lines, but I feel like, with hip hop, like, everybody is so DIY, and it's just like, "Nah, I'll just fucking learn tutorials or, sign up for a course from some guru online or whatever the fuck," right? Like, how did you go about kind of building that skill set, and even getting into that entire, behind the scenes, like you said, licensing and copyright and all that? I think that's pretty daunting for a lot of guys.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't understand it until more recently.
Yeah,
So to go back to the beginning, it was, just being a bunch of kids freestyling in school. And then this guy that ended up being one of my best friends, Fernando, he's actually the guy that produced Know About Me and is singing on the hook for Know About Me. A lot of people think that that's actually me singing on the hook,
okay.
but he just didn't want his name on it or anything. So I'm like, okay. He was the one that invited us over. His mom came, they're from Argentina. His mom got a record deal, so he came to Canada in a musical family, so to speak.
Yeah.
And he was big into programming and software development. So he was heavy in FL Studio, and he would invite us over. We had like hero tracks where it was like 6 of us rapping on a track that he made, and it was my first time ever recording in a studio setting.
Nice.
So he was the first person to introduce it to me, and this guy's computer would crash quarterly, I swear. So there's songs that we've had to walk away from because it doesn't exist anymore. Then whatever songs we did create were on MySpace and now are also gone forever. So we're used to that kind of thing, and that has pushed me to like learn how to produce and not be reliant on one person. Um, I started recording myself too.
Yeah.
So it was just being like, I can't afford it, but one studio session could get me one piece of equipment. The next studio session could get me the other half of that equipment.
Yeah.
And I just started mathing in my head on the fly. So then when I moved out to Vancouver at 19, it was very much like, okay, well, I have my own thing. I recorded Place Called Home in a kitchen, and I took egg cartons from my workplace and just put it all over the kitchen because it was
I've had a
super
booth like
echoey.
that. Yeah, yeah,
We've all been there.
yeah.
And it turned out like, again, one of my premier tracks that when I was going as an independent artist really stood out because it was just true. And it was just pulling from real life experiences. From there, it was just volunteering my time with Live Vision out of Vancouver. They were booking artists, they're doing tours or booking tours for agents. Um, Bringing artists together. They had a space, which is now, um, kind of right where Front clothing store is, the
Right.
Front in
The
Vancouver.
front end, and then the studio's the back end or whatever, right?
Yeah,
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 shout out to Evan on that's the homie. That's
yeah.
where I met him and his brother, um,
I haven't talked to
Kai.
IR Evan, but I've talked to, Freelance Flint. He also,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
associated with that place, I know, yeah.
great people,
Yeah.
great people. I always gotta check in and say what up to them anytime I'm in Vancouver. And from there, it just was like seeing Evan work, seeing Kai as an established artist, meeting I met Terrell when he was in Calgary. But so I had connections with him. So reuniting with him when I was out there, Tom McDonald was in this space too. And it was,
Oh,
it was
shit.
like it
Hey,
was a weird cocktail of artists, you know?
okay. So you've been in the same room with that guy then? You
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. He might be the
Before he
most
got
mentioned
political.
rapper on this show, like, people will bring
Yeah.
him up just as, like, an example of a guy, but, yeah.
Again, I hats off to him because I seen where he came from, how he started, and
Who
I tell artists all the time, you have to there's a niche to everything we do. You could be the rapper that raps about gobstoppers, and as
Yeah,
long as people keep buying gobstoppers, they're gonna keep singing your song.
yeah,
So if you can tap into, in his case, the provocative side of things or the political side of things,
The right-wing
Hats
grift
off to
side of things, I'll go ahead and say it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some people out there be all Seraphin sold out for saying this. No, I've seen him from the beginning, and hats off to him for creating that community around him and paving that way, that lane for him. He didn't follow nobody else's lane, in
I
my opinion.
so he's originally from Edmonton. I was talking to somebody else that I know who, had run-ins with him in the past, and you might have insight into this. Do you think it's an act? I feel like he's playing the heel. I feel like he made a deliberate choice to just be like, I'm going to lean into being, the wrestling term heel, like the bad guy.
Yeah.
I want people to hate me, and that's going to be the MO. But I bet him and Nova sit back and, kind of laugh at the world as they rake in the money wherever they are.
Look, I think you used the right term, the heel, because I've always last like 5 years, wrestling has been my biggest eye opener to how to market an artist.
Mm,
And if you're an artist and you're not doing those things like a wrestler would, you don't have your saying, you don't have your merch, you don't have the chant that everyone wants to say when they see you live.
yeah,
It's again, what are you doing? Well, we see it everywhere we go. We know what it looks like, what it's supposed to feel like, and yet we avoid it as artists.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know him well enough to answer that
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd have to
question.
ask him that sometime. Maybe one day I'll have
Yeah,
him on the show.
yeah. But again, I don't I don't see that it's wrong for an artist if you own it. But if you're trying to play both sides and, you know, I have artists that I'm working with right now that are trying to tell a story but don't want to get caught up in how the story is perceived, and who they are perceived as.
Yeah,
But that's your opportunity to tell your story,
yeah,
to
man.
make people go, "Oh, that's what he means. This is who he is." Oh, of course that would never align. Like we were talking about last time. The artists that are flaunting money they don't have or talking about a life they don't live. Okay, talk about it, tell me the story, but how does it circle back and relate to you?
Yeah,
Because we're creative creatures being artists, right? We're gonna use metaphors, we're gonna over exaggerate to be the best, to look the best, to sound the best. But how do you humanize yourself in the
yeah. Well, and
process?
you can only get away with so much exaggeration. Hearing a 16-year-old rap about Cristal, for example. I've never tasted Cristal all these years later. I probably never
Yeah,
will.
yeah,
And I think, anybody hearing me say that I had would probably be able to guess that I hadn't, so yeah, definitely people can see through that shit. The listener is not as dumb as some people tend to think they are.
yeah.
Um, dude, so am I right in thinking that the Source Volume 1 never hit streaming at all? It was
No,
exclusive?
I'm having a beef with streaming right now. Like I
Yeah,
don't want to put anything out on streaming. I want to keeping things on direct to consumer. Um, a part of like I had my goal that I mentioned to you, and a part of that was just realizing like, hey, I'm not putting in the work or effort to reach that level. I kind of just put it out there and was like, I need to prove a point
right.
because I earned 50 to 80 times what I've seen from streaming in 5 years,
Yeah. And I
if not
think
more.
even if it's not a project, I think like nobody's making money off streaming, right? Most guys go to the live shows to try to make a little bit of money. Um, I've made more money doing live shows than I will ever see off of streaming. I'm absolutely sure because I've walked away from a few nights with a few $100 in my pocket.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah,
it's a ton or anything, but yeah, man, making money off of streaming is pretty much impossible. I think everybody recognizes at this point. Um, guess what did you learn in the year that's passed since putting that project out the way you did?
well, I've learned that it's an important thing to build a community around yourself, um, however that looks for you. Um, the rat race of competing against others is irrelevant in your own personal story, but we use it to reflect on how far we've come or how far we have to go.
Yeah,
Um, I'll keep releasing projects direct to consumer, and I'll have the one off on streaming services to bring people back in that funnel
that makes sense,
until
man. Yeah.
until a label approaches me and wants to pay for my catalog to go on streaming services. That's the leverage I'm going to maintain.
Is that a thing that happens? I don't know if labels do that anymore. I think
Well, if a label, say in a good world, by next year, this time, I have millions of followers on TikTok
Right.
and Instagram, and major labels are seeing all this money that could be going to their platform ending up in my pocket. They would probably want to approach me and ask me to get one of these projects, um, to distribute one of the projects or get royalties from it.
Sure.
So in my eyes, it's like as an independent artist, I'm gonna maintain my leverage. If I'm at 300 sales on, the source, and my goal was 4,000, well, to buy me out, that 4,000 was $20,000 based on the $5 each.
Yeah.
So yeah, pay me that, and we can get this online right away. Because I have a promise to my fans and my people.
Do you ever worry that you left money on the table not doing physicals?
I'll tell you this: if I was doing like the work that I told you that I wasn't,
Yeah.
um, doing shows, running my own tour, 100% yes. I would have missed out on a lot of things. I would have left it right on the table.
Right.
However, when that circuit starts to happen, it's there, and I can still do it
Yeah.
because it's going to be new to somebody out there.
Yeah, that's true.
And the
You can
the
always
selling
press
piece,
older projects, right?
and they're not going to get it anywhere else. It's exclusive.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with that. I've seen one of the artists I've been working with, Manni Lewd, incredible rapper, talented artist, and a good human being. He also put a project on direct to consumer. Prophet also did that, and they're both same testimony. It's like we seen more funding from that independent release than we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years from a Spotify payout, and that's accumulated, not just a one-time payment.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
man,
if
I
we're
always say it. I say it a ton on this podcast, but people should start looking at streaming like we used to look at the radio, or like the industry used to look at the radio, where it's like, send them a single, you know, it'll help get the name out to some people, maybe, if people hear it. And then
yeah,
when you go do shows, maybe there'll be some more people there, but don't really expect that to be your bread and butter. And like, I feel like that whole mentality has just kind of flipped to now people, like you said, think they're just gonna put a song on streaming, do a couple TikToks about it, and, you know, go off to the bank or
yeah.
whatever. Um,
No. And
yeah,
it works for some people, and if it works for you, like, all the best.
yeah,
It's not I'm not coming here with the Bible on things, but I take my experiences and my outlook on things,
yeah.
and I combine them to give you the things that I'm talking about.
Yeah, man, for sure, and I appreciate it. That's what this entire podcast is, honestly, is like talking with people who are living this struggle and trying to figure out, you know, best practice. How do people actually make a go of this? What has worked for people? What doesn't work for people? So yeah, I don't think anybody really has the gospel of how to do this shit.
Yeah.
As much as there are all the gurus online who are going to claim that they will if you pay them X amount of dollars for their course or whatever. I
Act now and get the course, Serafin's teaching course of music
Yeah, right.
creativity,
uh,
49.99.
I wouldn't recommend anybody pays anybody for that course. It feels like you have to get out and live through it, and
Yeah.
talk with other artists, like you said. Going out to something like that beat camp, or what is it, beat cave? Is it
Yeah,
in
Beat
Vancouver?
Cave.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Group settings like that where you're forced to mingle with a bunch of other artists and a bunch of other people who are in the music industry trying to do the thing. I think that's invaluable even beyond the music that gets made at those things.
And yeah, it's being around people that are also investing in their career.
Yeah,
That was the biggest part, because we didn't just get a free ticket and a free plane ride.
right.
We paid a ticket, we paid the plane ride, we paid for rent and accommodations, or for hotel and accommodations, and we were there because we wanted to build and grow with other artists like-minded.
Yeah,
But that's the struggle, is like not every artist, and I've advocated for the artists coming to my studio. That's why it's been, let's do direct to consumer, because we want this money coming from the music going back into the music.
yeah,
We got bills, we got car payments, we got insurance, we got next and the third. So why are you pulling that 9 to 5 job with the $20 that you have left from your paycheck? Why are you spending? Why are you giving it to me? I'd rather see us work on something, put it out there, and that money becomes the thing that goes back into the studio that we've earned.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good mentality, man. That's, you know, I personally am a lefty, and that sounds close to, socialism or communism, dare I say even, a group effort to do something. How novel.
What?
Yeah, right.
In Alberta?
Yeah. Speaking of Alberta, though, like, eh, you obviously have this focus on building kind of a small, dedicated fan base, and beyond just fans, community base. Do you think it'd be easier someplace other than Calgary?
If I was born somewhere other than Calgary, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But
So,
I mean, it's just the hometown hero sickness, and there is something they put something in our water. I don't know what it is, but when people drink it, they just like this is my thing about Calgary. Calgary is where brands come to die, fads come to die. And if you look at when I say that, when you look at popular music recently, and I love Afro beats, by the way.
yeah,
Recently, I saw someone talking about how there's no club that isn't playing Afro beats. Every club, everyone, say the Nigerian community came down and had a crazy Afrobeats event. Everyone's, yo, did you go to that Afrobeats event? No, no, no. Yo, we should do Afrobeats at our next event and get all those people to come to our event. Meanwhile, the people that built the hype for that are still going to the first one, but then everyone else is going to the second and third one.
right,
And then this memo gets sent out across Calgary's bars and DJ scene. It's like everyone's loving Afrobeats right now. Same thing that they did with um everyone's gonna hate me for little Bad Bunny.
okay,
I was
yeah,
gonna say Mr. Oi, oi, but
yeah,
it's the same thing that happened with Bad Bunny. Is like came into Calgary, Poppy was popular, still is, and it just kind of oversaturated. Everyone was playing it until everyone didn't want to hear it, and then Afrobeats came in, and then we can talk about clothing. When I was growing up, it was like certain clothing brands everyone was wearing until the next one came out, and then the last one was crap.
right, yeah.
So like why I say that is because we have to think outside the box and look at this thing. If Calgary is a place where brands and fads go to die, what does that say? Well, it says a lot of our money is going for people traveling elsewhere and coming back and think that they need to do it here.
Was Bad Bunny big in Calgary before the Super Bowl or
Yeah,
after the Super Bowl? Okay, okay,
before.
yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, like, Calgary should have, they've got the same access to the internet as everybody else. It just seems to be like the land that hip hop forgot from my outsider perspective. I've never lived there. I've lived in Edmonton, and now I moved further south than Calgary down to Lethbridge. But there's a few guys whose music I fuck with who are based in Calgary, but like I see,
Based in Calgary.
yeah. But I see, like WH and Prophet talking about like how do we, turn the Calgary scene into something, and I kind of think like, is there really a Calgary scene? Like I don't know. Is
Well,
is
again,
there? Like, are there
I'm not
ciphers
trying
that
to
go on? There's Ship Hop. Shouts to the guys that do Ship Hop. That's a, you know, something I think of when I think of the scene in Calgary, but, like,
in my observation, this is something that I've had a conversation with multiple people about,
yeah.
and I'm not trying to catch flack for it, okay? So just, stay behind your keyboard, don't press that button. Um, Calgary has a lot of, all-inclusive spaces, which is great for community in general.
Yeah,
What we've seen in the past, honestly, since I got back and I was petitioning for a collaboration space, I had, like, over 300 signatures, but what we've seen is that hip hop is being used as the medium in all these all inclusive spaces, which is great in the sense that hip hop's origins liberated. It was like urban news,
right,
but there was funk to it. There was like a sense of cool to it. It wasn't like, hey, I can put these rhymes together now. Everyone clap because I of my effort.
right,
Right? So and again, I love that these spaces exist for people trying to build their craft, but when it becomes the front line for a hip hop, opening act or headline act, or festivals locally in Calgary are just surrounded by that,
Yep.
I feel like that's where our promise has landed as a hip hop community in Calgary. Because previous hip hop promises saw, you know, God bless them, but like the loose cannon players and like um Cash Bradshaw or 100% legit was popping, and you had Chain Reactions doing his thing, and you know, there was a lot of that hip hop 2000s vibe coming through in Calgary,
Okay.
but it didn't connect. Or there would be shows that other hip hop artists would throw, and then bars don't want to put them on because of what happened that night. Or, so the reputation for Calgary hip hop kind of had to take a backseat until we could claim something new that was going to be demand. People don't want to sell tickets. Promoters stop promoting and are asking artists to pay to get on shows.
Right.
So this whole culture is not fostering something that they believe in.
Yeah.
And that's where we have a big issue in Calgary is like, I'll say this, when it comes to other artists supporting one artist, I've seen a lot of that from Manni Lewd. Manni Lewd has been getting time and time again, who should we look out for this year in Calgary? Manni, 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 Manni. Hear that everywhere. And that can be the start of something brilliant for our city. Because Manny's not egotistical. He's not gonna stand up here and say I'm better than all these rappers. You might hear something in his raps and be like, "Oh shit,
That's
what do
part
you
of
mean
rap.
by that?"
Yeah.
And that's part of rap.
Yeah.
That's part of rap. And that's where I have hope. And I'm not trying to bash these areas in Calgary that have done a great job at bringing a community together and helping people overcome challenges as being a creative. I have no problem with that. Um, but when it becomes the forefront of what represents Calgary hip hop, it's like there's relics. We have the relics of like K the Chosen and T Fanny,
Right.
um, talented artists. I love T Fanny. I love K the Chosen. Um, they're tied into that, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and that's where they get a lot of their support, and that's the community. But an artist like me or like Manny, we're not gonna really fit in going into those areas, and then we say that's hip hop's community.
Right.
And then we have artists that are actually, like, in our opinion, hip hop, like
Yeah.
hip hop.
Yeah. That any head from anywhere on earth could hear and be like, okay, this guy's good. There
Mm,
are those artists out of Calgary for sure.
yeah,
And I hear what you're saying about just kind of like an open door is good, but at some point, radical inclusion, ends up with some lackluster results here and there, and I don't mean to shoot shots at anybody in particular or anything, but
yeah,
like, yeah, I think we've all seen those kind of it's amateur hour, right? Like you don't want established artists coming up after somebody who is up there rapping their first song kind of thing. Uh,
yeah,
that's a surefire way to make the scene look bad. So yeah, man, I think one of the problems that, and I always blame promoters, dude. You said like, they've people have to be actually connected to the scene and invested in the scene.
mhm,
And when you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, like, you know, how come artists are expected to wear so many other hats? We're expected to be content creators, we're expected to MC, fucking DJ, produce, engineer ourselves, mix and master. Like, it's not necessarily expected, but it's not weird for somebody to wear all of those hats in hip hop.
yeah,
Um, but then the one that they don't do is promotion. Nobody will phone the fucking venue and book their own show. And to me, like I came up with punk rock guys, and that was what you fucking do as a punk
that's
rock
all they do.
group is like
Yeah,
phone the pub in Red Deer and see if we can get a gig in Red Deer because we got one in Edmonton and one in Calgary, and you book shows that way or whatever, right? Like book yourself a
yeah,
little tour and then you go around and you play them. And I feel like more hip hop artists need to embrace the promoter side because, in my opinion, a lot of these promoters are not invested. They're kind of just being vultures. They're there to, like you said, like have guys pay them to get on shows. And it's like, but what do you actually fucking do? Like have AI make a poster for this thing and call it a
yeah.
day or like, Yeah, so
That's what becomes the narrative a lot of the times is like I had a promoter that wanted us to pay $200 and I said, "What are you gonna do with that 200? Because I could probably spend that 200 a lot wiser." And the first thing I asked, "Okay, 200, when's the photo shoot? What type of video promo are we doing together?
yeah,
Um, when should I be at the radio station?"
right.
Those types of questions,
Yeah,
because if you're and there's a guy out of Toronto, his name's Freddie Fame. He does that. You know, I remember that was my first experience anyone asking me to pay to be on a show, but it was more or less like, "Here's tickets. All the money that you just put into it is in these tickets," and he would get certain artists to pay an upfront because they couldn't guarantee the tickets that they were selling.
right.
He gave me a pass because I was like, "There's no way I'm paying you to do this show." And he told me, he's like, "I showed up
No
for a
matter
photo
who
shoot."
shows up, no matter how many people are in the door, no pay.
Yeah.
That's fucked up,
But
man.
but
Yeah.
he did the whole route with me, you know what I mean? Built personal flyers, did a photo shoot, um, et cetera, et cetera. So
Okay.
that, to me, showed me where my money's going, at least,
Right.
right? So that's where I have a problem with the promoters coming to the city, but I'm glad that you mentioned the punk rock, community, because that's actually Calgary's poorest community, is the
Right.
punk hardcore scene, and we can look at that and learn so much. But artists, hip hop artists, and their ego won't let them book a show because they don't understand that it's more than just a one time event. It's thinking that the idea that they have to owe the bar money to
I
perform there.
I think it's an ego thing. You fucking nailed it, just saying it's
Yeah,
artists and their ego. In hip hop, everybody envisions themselves like, you gotta be this big, huge star, and if you're playing a pub, people are gonna mock you for like, "Oh, you're trying to be a rapper," and
yeah,
because people envision that, like, to be a rapper, you must be rich and famous, right? And it's like, no, you just got to be a guy who raps good, like, in my opinion, anyways. But
make me believe you. And that if I feel like I'm reading a piece of paper with you while I'm listening to your music, I don't care.
yeah,
But let me believe you. I want to believe what you're saying. I want to go into this space that you're creating as you answer the question, that the beat rises.
yeah,
And I want it to align with what I would answer this question with.
right,
And then I want to connect to you and I want to learn more, that I see myself in you and that the normal person like me can go out and do XYZ, because look at you, you're a testament to that. And this music that I listen to, like, that's the musical exchange. That's the currency in being a creative.
hundred
And the
percent.
more and more that we can focus on that as artists, we're so much ahead than where we were 10 minutes ago. Because all we're focusing on is, how do I do this justice? How do I
Yeah,
answer this question the beat is giving me and take the listeners through a part of my life that, yeah, I still struggle with and it's okay. Or I still struggle with and it's not okay to me because I need to let this go. And there's at least anyone watching that has gone through either of those things.
yeah, yeah, man. Well, the whole journey is about trying to get people to connect and try. I think avoiding the cliches and offering your own thoughts is something that a lot of artists need to do more of, because now, especially
Yeah.
with this age of AI, if people are just looking for pop music that sounds like the other stuff in the pop lane, like, you can get Suno to make it for you in 10 seconds. It's fucking scary. I'm not endorsing it, but if all you're looking for is like catchy, bouncy pop music with a bunch of rap lyrics that you've kind of already heard over the last 30 years, but like this is now rearranged into a new order of the lyrics you've already heard for the last 30 years. If that's all you want, AI can do it, and it's going to do it probably better and more consistently than the amateur guys who are trying to do it themselves. So I really
Yeah.
think, you need to have your personality shine through. I need to be able to hear your song and then know what you think about something, like, it can't just be a bunch of brags. Like, yes, brags are part of hip hop. Oh, hip hop is built on braggadocio. I know. I've
Yeah.
studied the history or whatever, but like, at some point, for me, emceeing has to kind of elevate beyond that. Like, it's fine to have some of the braggadocio in rhymes. Everybody's gonna. but,
Yeah,
like, you gotta fucking say something that people can relate to that isn't just, like, a regurgitation of something that Cool G Rap or Jay-Z or fucking whoever, man, Lil Uzi Vert, all the way through the years have said, there's
yeah.
there's just a lot of retread, I feel like, in amateur music, and yeah, the guys that stay away from that are the ones who I gravitate towards for sure.
Well, you just can't tell because what's the old saying? Bad artists copy, good artists steal.
Yeah,
And when you think about that in the context of music is just a recreation of what that person likes to hear and
right.
has enjoyed listening to, and a good artist will turn into what it means to them.
But hip hop
Like I've
is
said
so
this millions of times.
so I
I
statement based,
yes, yes, I agree. But it's not like you can't if I go out there, my example for this debate is like Kanye West, right? I love Kanye, I love his production, I love how he raps and the things he says. Off the mic, I don't necessarily agree with all the stuff and the commotion that he raises, and I on certain levels, understand it but don't get it, you know. But as an artist, if Seraphin was Justin Trudeau doesn't care about white people and like, saying all this crazy shit, people will be like, yo, Seraphin's off his ringer. Like, who is this guy? And oh, he's trying to be like Kanye West. Yeah, look at him. He's putting the mask over his face so you can't see. Oh, he's in his music. Oh, this sounds like a Kanye West beat. Like, did Kanye make this?
Yeah,
That's an artist copying. But when you hear like, yo, this kind of sounds like Bone Thugs meets Neptunes with
right,
like a little bit of Drake, then it's like that's an artist that stole in a good way because we stole the things that we like and made it into our own.
sure,
We
yeah,
didn't copy it and make it a replica of what's already out there. And so when you hear artists where you're like, "Ah, this artist sounds too much like Kendrick," or "This artist sounds too much like Drake," we're already put off.
right.
Where we already got it, it's like having Coca-Cola and Pepsi. This time we see a third cola, we already have the 2 choices. Like, I love Coke and I'm never touching Pepsi. And it's like once we have that thing, we're not looking for a reiteration of it.
Artists
We
should,
want
like, strive to diversify who they listen to, because like you said, if
yeah,
you're a knockoff of one artist, people hear that and they're like, "Well, he's knocking off that one artist." But if there's 4 or 5 different sounds and different songs, people hear different styles being incorporated into your music or whatever, it's much more forgivable and, like you said, he's paying homage to, the people that he grew up listening to or whatever, and
yeah.
you can appreciate it that way, but yeah, man, dude, I
I
wanted to
think some artists don't even realize. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. You got more to say on that. Some artists didn't realize what.
Well, I think they just don't realize the influence that the music they listen to has on the music that they create. And like there's no problem with doing something, but then doing it and not realizing is another thing too. So like there's probably artists that you think I sound like, but I don't listen to all the time. But I've heard it, I've seen it,
Yeah,
and it lives in my subconscious. And then when I ready to answer it, because a lot of my thought process, especially when freestyling, is like, who do I hear on this? Where am I right now in this visual landscape of this beat and the question that it's rising? And how am I gonna answer it? And who would answer it the best way? So it's like, yeah, I might do a shitty job at impersonating the weekend, but I'm gonna throw some auto tune on and just get in my feels.
yeah,
And that's kind of what you saw on uh, Big Wings on the first track of my project,
right.
where it's like super R&B vibes. It's like, oh, Sarafin makes this kind of music. Yeah, I love making that kind of music. I love making R&B music. I got married at 21, and there was like not married anymore, but I've been through the ringer of relationships I love
Sure.
to love,
Yeah,
and that's a part of me that like will never die, and I want to showcase that as an artist because that's me leaving something on the table,
yeah,
not
man.
tapping into like what's true to me. And
So
so
you set me up for a better segue into asking you about what's coming up on the next project, man. What can people expect sonically? You told me there's a follow up you're planning for. The source is going to be the source volume 2. So we're talking
yeah,
about. Okay.
I'm gonna keep it Jay-Z like with my blueprint stuff.
Yeah.
But no, this see if I was copying, I call it the blueprint. But I just want to put out something at least annually,
I
hold
mean,
myself accountable to that at least annually.
KRS already made an album called Blueprint, Sarafin, so, you know, that was a Nas diss to Jay.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, you don't wanna make another Blueprint. I don't think we can do that again. But,
No, no one, the world can't handle anymore.
yeah, yeah. You
But
gotta
that's
keep it
kind of
moving forward, man. So, is it gonna be freestyled again? Are you gonna be on the same
it's gonna be a mix. I'm
okay,
gonna mix it up. So there's a bunch of tracks that I've been holding on to. Um, and yeah, I'm re I'm looking at a bunch of artists to collaborate with as well. I want it to be a little bit more of a collaboration piece this one, and still have. I'm probably gonna have like around 8 tracks. I'm thinking, and have some core like Seraphin kick rock style tracks, like the one I posted. Breakthrough will be on it.
nice.
Um, and yeah, it's like forgive me, guys. I know I said I was gonna release it to streaming after 100 shares. I got the 100 shares, and Spotify took down summer sessions. So I was like, you know what? You're not getting any more of my crap or my great music to your crap.
I
So
I really
go
have a
ahead.
problem with Spotify lately, man. The whole, like, investing all the money that they're making into fucking AI drone warfare or whatever the fuck that was. I think about 6 months ago, some story came out
Yeah,
along those lines. I was just like, "You know what? I don't know if I wanna send any of my music to these fucking guys anymore." Like,
it's tough.
yeah,
It's tough, and yeah, I just gotta to justify it a lot more as an independent artist. We still need to be selling CDs out the trunk of our car, and in the new age of social media, that's a link in our bio that funnels people who want to support us to a place of exclusivity.
I
And if
agree.
you're not doing that as an artist, you got to revamp your ways and at least have something that someone can, whether it's a hat, t-shirt, a song,
Yeah.
something.
I was just gonna say,
Create
though, do
your
you
own
think it
lane.
has to be something physical? I think people still have a hang up where they don't wanna pay for digital music. Unless they really, really wanna support the homie, then they'll
Yeah,
pay for some digital music, but, like, I think they're more likely to buy physical, and that's another thing I always say on this podcast is just, like, the world has enough fucking plastic in it, guys. We don't need more copies of shit to sit on our shelf and collect dust while we listen to it on streaming anyways, do we? But
yeah,
I think the
and you know
general
what? If
person
you
does.
if you can create something that is multi-purpose, like you release something with something that people can use in their everyday life, but still retain your art, that works too.
Yeah,
Like I was telling you before we started, I'm working with this vape company, Revo Hits, and today in the stores, this guy was saying, "Oh man, it'd be cool if a vape had like a fidget thing on it." And some of them are kind of just a sensory experience. You're just playing with it while in between
yeah,
puffing your vape.
yeah, but to
And
actually have a little clicky wheel or something on it, I could see those selling.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, people are buying it for both addictions, like the addiction to the sensory and the addiction to the nicotine.
yeah,
And that goes further when we're talking about our music is okay, well, I got them hooked on the music. They're singing it. It's gives them a sense of familiarity. But what's that other thing that can go back to the music when people ask what that thing is?
right. Yeah,
And we have to think multidimensional when we're marketing is like, how do I invite people into this story? And that thing, that physical thing on top of your music is unique to every single artist. Oh, I grew up watching Pokemon, so I created my own Pokemon and he's a keychain. Cool.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Um, I used to I first started listening to music on um Napster or whatever, and you come up with something that correlates with that. It reminds people of that, gets people talking.
Any idea what you're doing for the next one? Are you gonna stick to the same exact direct to consumer playbook as you did on the first one, or tweak the formula a little bit?
I'm gonna go keep it still direct to consumer.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a lot more content creation with that. I've been dabbling in that a lot with Manny lately, and just because I got a new camera, learning about like Quake Matthews, for example, the bait and hook of
right.
content,
Yeah.
and
I was
that's where
That's
it's
funny,
going.
man. I was just gonna ask if I clicked through a couple videos on your Instagram like 10 minutes before this, and one of them was, Manny trying to eat really greasy noodles wearing like a white fucking shirt. I was like, why would you wear that shirt to a
Yeah.
to a food thing? But um,
And honestly, that was
it
just
made me
us
think of
going.
Quake, right? Like Quake was
Yeah.
running around doing food videos, food reviews out there.
And that was
Yeah,
just organic to the situation though, and, like, so we went there to shoot for one of his songs, and then I was like, "You know what? Why don't you just go order?" And I got, like, one of those mics that hooks up to the camera or whatever, so I'm like, "Let's just film you ordering, do some B-roll stuff." And then he ordered the food, and it was way too greasy, and so we took that footage, and I just chopped it up where it made it look like he was hyped over the food, and he added some things like that Nicki Minaj part was like, "Ooh, ooh, ah, ah." And he's, like, going away to eat it and stuff.
yeah,
But, like, that's just comedy, right? But it's also showing people, like, a fun side of Manny as well, and we're not getting that side of him from just seeing the video. They're like, "Oh, man, this guy's he's serious, like, don't wanna mess with him and then those bars."
yeah,
But in reality, like, he's a very transparent person. He can meet you at all levels, and when you see that, you're like, there's people that wouldn't see his music and be inclined, but then they'll see something like that and wanna know about his music,
yeah.
and those
Man,
are
a lot of rappers don't want to do any of that type of stuff, right? How do you convince guys to do that? Like in a mentorship role for MCs, uh, a lot of guys don't want to, do the food
you
review
got
videos or
how do you
whatever.
I got a camera because you gotta do it for them, and
Yeah,
then they see the results, and it's the daunting thing of, like, "Oh, another thing?" And, yeah, I was right there with them, but when it comes down to it, like, everyone's doing it, and it's not to, like, be in the disease of the mind of comparing yourself to others, but
right.
you gotta do something to reel people in, and there was a social media person at the camp, her name's Nicole Wong, and she's got, like, 1.5 million followers. And signed up for her course. Yes, I know. Oh, I signed up for a course.
Well, if they've got
But
1.5 million followers, maybe, but yeah,
yeah, it was expensive, man. I don't even think I finished paying it, so I got kicked out. But the things that I learned by just getting into it, you see, like all it takes is consistency.
see,
And it
now
doesn't
there's
mean every single.
the real trick. You sign up for it and then get kicked out after you've learned what you need to learn, so you don't have to pay the rest of it. No,
But
well
technically
played,
didn't get
sir.
my money's worth.
Uh, um, dude, so are you gonna be doing, like, live streams for as you record the new stuff for the new album? I've
Yeah,
seen you
there's
have
gonna
the live
be.
stream set up.
Yep. I'm gonna be doing that closer in going into May. It might even be remote stuff because my new job has me going all across Alberta and the island in Vancouver. So it could just be kind of like improv out and about. Going to Vancouver, collaborating with some artists out there. I got access to some really good studios and connections to some really talented producers through that program, Beat Cave. And yeah, I just want to see what I can come up with and just kind of jumping out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So it might look like that a little bit, but it also might be more refined. Um, I'm really open to either popping off for me.
Talk about your motivation for wanting to stream studio sessions, because for me personally, like, I love being able to studio stream and, whether anybody is watching or not, I feel like it's, like, a good way to create content or get B-roll for a potential music video or whatever else,
Mhm.
just and also to just have it documented. Because if I could have watched Nas work on Illmatic, like, sign me up, I'd watch it for a week straight.
Yeah,
You know, so, I think it's important to document the process, I guess, and
yeah,
just show that, like, "Look, I'm not using AI to write this," like,
yeah.
um, in
Mind you,
this day
I
and age.
I I've still yet to dabble in Suno. I've seen that and I'm like, that's where my integrity stops or says, "Hey, like we're not getting involved in that." Yeah, I
Yeah,
have like AI workflows. Like there's one that I recently got called Wingman, where you can like make a sound or say I wrote a hook and I'm just like, how am I gonna build around this hook? I can record my hook and then record it into Wingman and it'll give me MIDI for like a piano or a bass line and things like that. And
yeah,
then the ideas come out of that. I believe to use it as a tool to progress
sure.
and not necessarily be my wand and hat where I all of a sudden then a rabbit comes out and it's a hit.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, there's that for sure, but when it comes down to the project, like, it's gonna be pure organic. I'm gonna try to document everything, as much as possible, and for the live streams, that's just to build content. Like, if there's a good moment that I've recorded on OBS, then I'll chop it up and put it into some content, as you've seen on my Instagram.
Yeah,
Um, and that's just to have something, you know? It's better to have it than to be looking for it, and that's kinda rule of thumb in a lot of things.
definitely, man. Yeah. I think moving forward, as AI gets more and more prominent, like even for me, trying to choose music to play every week on After the Smoke is Clear, like I find new artists and I click to their profile and like if they don't have a bio written and like they're wearing a ski mask in the picture or whatever, I'm like, is this even a real person? Like in
Mm,
2026, I genuinely don't know whether it's a real person or not.
yeah,
It could be someone's AI project, like, make an artist and fucking pretend to be an artist and just crank out a bunch of AI stuff with it. And like, I have messed with Suno enough to tell you that like if I feed it my lyrics, it fucking spits it back. And if I were to hear that submitted to me for After the Smoke is Clear, I wouldn't know that it wasn't fucking real. Like,
interesting.
and even that's like with lyrics that were actually written by a human. But if you if you get it or other AI to generate lyrics, they're pretty fucking good at that too. Like as far as putting words together that rhyme, like, and saying
Yeah.
things that rappers say, right? Like, which is kind of what I was talking about. Like, it seems like a lot of people are checking boxes in their songs. I call it cliche bingo. I was talking about it last week on this podcast, but like that a lot of the music I listen to every week on Fridays is cliche bingo. And like I've actually
Mm.
made a little fucking list of like, if anybody says they're fucking my bitch, I am skipping the song. Like
Yo,
we don't need to hear it. We've heard enough from
my next track is, Doobyis, 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 Doobyis. You
fucking
won't
your
like
bitch.
this. No, 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 I have to figure out a way where I'm not saying "your bitch,"
Yeah,
but
sure. Okay. Yeah.
they heard I was fucking their bitch.
But just the classic cliches, like if you're a dude from Winnipeg, and like I've said this in interviews with guys from Winnipeg who talk about their foreign cars, that like, dude, you can't drive a Ferrari in Winnipeg in February. You just can't. Like
Mm,
we all fucking know it. And to be rapping about your foreign cars in Winnipeg, we can't believe it. We don't believe you. You need more people. Like,
yeah, yeah.
and
I've been trying so hard. I recently got a new car, and it's a 25, and I've been trying so hard to figure out the bar that I'm gonna use. Like, pulled off the lot in last year's or
sure.
something. I don't know. Yeah, I'll come up with it. You'll hear it.
I got a 2025 in the lot too. While we're flexing, why not? Yeah,
Eee,
look at us go.
my
We
man.
should shoot a music video or something. Um,
Dude, on a side note, I hit a guardrail coming back from Edmonton. We got asked Atomic Bros from Vancouver invited us to a Shoddy Mills show in Edmonton,
Interesting.
and
That's an interesting character. I can't wrap my mind around that guy.
I didn't know about him until people were like, "Oh my god, are you serious?" And anyways, going back to promoters, they promoted it as a new club grand opening,
Okay.
and it was like an empty bar. Like, it didn't even look like it was like a retail space before, and they put a bar in it. And yeah, it was kind of like even the Atomic Bros were like, "Oh man, like, I'm so sorry. It was like, it's just kind of blindsided, but we still did the show, me and Manny. But yeah, on my way back, I hit a guardrail, like on unplowed snow on my brand new car.
Ugh,
So I had to like, I was in between going through insurance or not. And so I just bit the bullet, went through insurance, went up by 2 grand. And I'm
damn,
like,
man.
oh
It
man,
must have been treacherous roads. We talk about treacherous roads and touring all the time on this podcast, but it's
yeah.
it's a straight line between Edmonton and Calgary, bro. There's no turns on that road. So I
It
don't know how
was
you would hit a
windy.
guardrail.
It was
Fuck.
windy and unplowed. Okay.
Holy shit.
And
Okay. All
yeah,
right. All right. Well, that's unfortunate. Dude, I wanted to ask you about creating content. Do you think it's more about quality or quantity?
both.
Yeah.
I think it's more about quality.
Well, because okay, looking at your Instagram, like when you
Yeah.
when you told me you wanted to talk about like that you've been getting into studying content creation and helping other MCs and artists figure out how to do it best, I kind of
Yeah,
thought to myself, like, I don't know if I can remember the last time I saw you on IG. Like,
yeah,
you don't crank out a bunch of, you know, video after video after video to try to stay relevant or whatever, right? So that's
no.
why I wanted to ask you this. But
Yeah, I don't feel a need to be consumed in the rat race.
yeah,
But when it comes to building content, like quality, 100%. Um, there's a kid that's one of my dad's friend's son, and he's doing drywall. It's like Mint or something like that, Mint Developments or something like that. You check him out. But he was getting approached by content creators in Calgary. He reached out to them and they wanted to do something with him. And I told him, like, look, going straight into that might work, but I can almost guarantee you the retention that you're looking for isn't going to be there. Because if you're posting videos and all your videos on your thing are like from a old phone that's like, you know, poor quality, not the best quality, we'll say,
yeah,
and it's just you throwing up a sheet of drywall, like that's the promise. That's what's consistently on your Instagram. But if you took those down and then started shooting content with me, and I was like, yeah, I can be the guy, the employee that always takes vape breaks and I'm constantly hitting the Revo hits and
yeah,
and then we build content like that with a quality camera, we get a couple angles. And then the next one is you talking about your tool pouch that you created and how it helps construction workers. And we have that again in high quality. And then the next one is, you know, who you are, who Evan is, and then we keep going, and then that quality maintains itself. Then you go to the content creator and say, "Let's collab,"
right.
or
Well, and
you
wait
have he's
until
like,
something funny actually happens on site. My brother and I were demolitioning a basement for a
yeah,
contract we had, and we fucking pulled down the wall, and the biggest crack I've ever seen in a foundation was running clear across this entire fucking basement. Like, as you could stick your fist into the fucking crack on this wall. Like,
no,
we looked up and we're like, "Oh fuck, is the building about to come down on us
yeah,
here?"
no doubt,
But yeah, we shot like a little clip of him like pointing at it and just being like, "So if you've got something like this, it's a problem. But like, this is not something that you want in your house." Like, I don't know, I forget exactly what he said, but it was fucking hilarious.
yeah. And
And
those are the videos like when you're doom scrolling on YouTube Shorts. Those are the videos that you like want to watch more of because you're like, for people like men especially, we're always intrigued. Like the old saying of like the old guy that's always peeking behind the construction
yo, I
fence. You
know
know what
the
I mean?
name of that guy. That there's a term for that guy that
Okay.
it's an Arabic term, I think, that's umarel, an umarel. If you look up the word umarel, it's old
Okay.
men that stand by construction sites, typically with their hands behind their back watching.
Yeah.
And yeah,
But that lives within a lot of men, right?
yeah,
So just something like that while we're doom scrolling, we're like, "Oh, man, that was cool." Like, I'm sure you've seen those concrete guys out of the States, and he's got his whole, like, team, and he's got his GoPro, and every episode is like a day at work.
okay,
Like, he not only makes money from his contracting, but he makes money off of monetizing as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And, if you're a business and this can speaks to all business owners, all you have to do is show your character, your personality, what it's like working in a day in the life of you, and connect with your audience.
yeah,
But that's why you see so many people, the YouTubers especially. Hey, I just saw the mess in your lawn. Gonna offer to do it for you today. Oh, sorry, no, it's okay. No, no, it's free. It's free. And then that whole exchange of like helping someone that didn't expect it, it raises so much. But they're making double of the price that just off of the monetization alone than they would have on that contract.
right,
So it makes complete sense.
yeah,
And but if that was on a grainy photo or grainy picture, it'd be like, "Ah, they're trying, they're close, the idea is there. Maybe if I support them, they'll get a new camera."
right,
But that's charity.
yeah,
So
yeah,
learning about sales is like, you wanna be dominant in your approach and what your brand is. But then there's also the aspect of like, "Hey, I keep seeing this guy, I let's just check it out." Like, I'll give them the time of day now. The rule of 7, like they say, right? You see it 7 times and they check it out. That's the charity aspect,
right,
where we're like, "Okay, yeah," or we see them doing charity and we're like, "Oh, he's a good guy. I wanna help him continue doing his charity because I was too busy the last 2 years of my life to do anything for anyone. And so,
Yeah,
it's the reality of it though, right?
for real.
And so think like you are the consumer, but also create for who you are, the consumer. And we see it all the time. So it's not to say, "Oh, I don't know where to begin." Well, just begin with you. What do you like seeing? What do you like doing? What's a funny moment in your day-to-day life?
Yeah. Yeah, and so many artists act as though, content creation is gonna be this big headache or whatever, and it's like, it really doesn't have to be, tell us why you wrote the song, tell us fucking where you recorded the song, show us the studio. Like, there's so many different ways to do it. Do a listening session. Just before we started this up, I got an email from Cadence Weapon. I'm on his
Sick.
fucking mailing list or whatever, and he's doing like a listening party for his upcoming album. I think it's on Friday. But yeah, just stuff like that. I think is necessary in the modern era. To stay relevant at all. You can put music out to nobody if you want to, but
Yeah.
if you want anybody to listen, I think yeah, you got to be doing something on social media. Um, but we've talked a lot about the marketing. Let me switch gears here. We're passing the hour mark here.
I love talking about it because it's underlooked or
It,
overlooked, I guess you could say.
it's yeah, it's overlooked and under talked about. I think
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Um, yeah, not many artists are having these conversations out loud in places, especially where the public can hear it. I think artists will tend to sit and talk with one another about
Mhm.
this shit, and try to figure out, but then it's just the combined thoughts of two people. So yeah, that's another reason I do this podcast is, like I said earlier, just to try to get everybody's consensus and figure out like what actually works for Canadian artists.
Yeah,
Speaking
and
of
I'll
Canadian artists, though, bro,
before you dive into the next part, I'll
okay,
just say, because I'm a sleazy salesperson, if anyone has questions about marketing or wants to expand more, just pick my brain. I do free consultations with everyone, so reach out to me on Instagram, Sarafin Music,
dope.
and we'll figure something out. Yeah.
Likewise, I can't say that I'm, doing consultations, but I'm always here to bounce ideas off of. And, I've heard a lot of ideas from a lot of different people who think about this shit a lot. So, yeah, I have some sort of consensus to tell people going forward with. But I wanted to ask you, though, about artists you've been working with, man. I
Yep,
know I talked to Ben Ugly. I think it was like summer 2025, June 2025, I think I talked to Ben Ugly, and he was like,
yep.
"Oh man, we're about to hit them with so much fucking music. They don't know.
That
I've
guy.
been gearing up.
Oh,
We're
man.
ready. It's coming out." And
You have no idea. You have
crickets,
no
right?
idea what that guy.
So,
I'll tell you this, when it comes to Ben Ugly, that guy is so talented and has dropped a lot of gems, planted a lot of seeds in the Calgary hip hop scene,
yeah,
and it's only a matter of time. He loves his ducks, right? So just understand he's getting his ducks in a row.
okay,
All right?
good.
He's got a whole, I don't even know if I'm allowed to be speaking about it, but his music video content tells a whole story,
Okay,
and it's something that's been missing in this art form for a very long time. And I'm not just talking like a story in one music video. I'm talking about series of things.
nice.
So something to keep your eye out and peeled for him, because the second he drops, it's go time.
Yeah.
So he's preparing for it, and I know you're like, ah, it's been crickets. Where's he been at? He's working away, man. Like, this guy doesn't stop working.
I get it. And I mean, I do see him post stuff, and sometimes, I'll send him DMs and heckle him a little bit about the crickets. Where's the music though?
Yeah.
But I,
Well,
I
he's
I
popping
assume
off
it's
on
coming.
Snapchat right now. He's getting like, what is it, like 500,000 views on things that he posts on Snapchat.
God
And
damn.
he just calls me, he's cackling. He's like,
It's so funny
right?
how
That's,
different people have so much success with different platforms, right? You hear about a guy popping off on Snapchat, or fucking Shoddy Mills is the TikTok guy. Like, that's how
yeah,
I have seen him. Yeah, I don't know. I talked to a guy, Just Jordan. He just posted he hit 50 million fucking YouTube views, and I'm just like, holy shit, bro! Like,
sick.
congratulations! Like,
Yeah.
yeah, dudes are doing numbers out there. And they're still not like Just Jordan lives in Edmonton. He's an Edmonton guy.
Y- y-
I don't know anybody in Edmonton who knows him. I've never heard his name out of anybody's mouth other than my own. Like, I just stumbled on his music.
Here's a name for you to check out, and if you don't have him on your radar yet, Bijan.
Bijan?
Bijan would be a perfect person to be talking to about, um, how he got to where he's at. Like,
Okay,
Kato, the producer, just invited him out. He just got back from South by Southwest.
nice.
Um, he's been working with Junior T a lot, the guy that produced Static,
Yeah,
um, good
yeah.
friend of mine. So when I
Junior
caught
T, I
wind.
think actually also worked with Caden's Weapon. I'm pretty sure him and
Yep,
Caden's
yep.
Weapon did their entire project together here. Yeah,
Yeah, he's well renowned in Canadian music scene. Like,
yeah.
that guy is top tier producer, artist, human. So yeah, Bijan is another artist out of Calgary
Okay.
who released a few tracks recently and has been getting a lot of traction. But he's one artist that I look at and I see the team behind him.
Mm,
Not like physically, I don't see them standing behind him, but
right.
you get a sense that there's people working in the background with him. And whether that's as simple as someone that's dedicated to carrying a camera for him or people reaching out to publicists, I don't know his team or if he even has one, but I know that he's got people he's working with, and that's a great person to kind of pick their brain and get them on your show
Nice.
and figure out what success from Calgary looks like.
Yeah.
Because that's been a true testament to what we're capable of coming out of here.
Yeah. The only like big thing I can think coming out of Calgary, like other than like pop stars, Tate McRae or whatever, but like there's like what's his
Well,
name?
shout
Like
out to Half Cut. I know he's from Fort Mac, but he's
Half
been a
Cut.
Calgary
Yeah, he's
resident
set
for
up
a
in
long
Calgary.
time,
Yeah, yeah,
and he
he's
was
doing it
recently
big.
just on Shady 45.
Yeah, definitely. He's making moves. I talked to him, what's the date for that one? May 19th. I'm talking to him and Cole the God.
If you remember, every time he calls my phone, I'm like, "Look, look."
Look,
I have this thing for impersonating artists, and I'm like, maybe I should do a collab track with myself and impersonate all these artists that I know.
Black
This is
Thought
a
did
fun.
that once. He raps a bunch of different artists. I don't think most listeners even like know what he's doing, but yeah, he's
Yeah.
got a track where he does that. I forget the name of it.
But yeah,
Um,
to circle back on all the other artists that I've been working with and mentoring, K.Stone was one of them
that
through
was
the
who I was going
program
to
that I was
ask about.
working with.
Yeah, next. Yeah.
Um, K-Stone's brilliant kid. To see what he's doing and how he just took the information. I remember meeting him and Donnie Sage like 3 years ago at one of the conferences, and it's like I can't say enough how proud I am of both of them. You know, it's great to see them like diving in head first to their art. K-Stone taking the leap to move out to Montreal. I
Yeah.
was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, man, got this." I'm
He
like, "You got it for sure."
he sounds
So
fucking happy out there, man, when I talk to him
yeah,
anyways. I mean, he put on a
yeah.
good face if he's not happy, but,
Oh, he
sounds like
is.
it's
Yeah,
going well for him out there. He says he loves the culture and stuff, that it's just, like, culture shock to be in a place where, there's actually shows to go to every fucking night of the week if you want to, and
good
different
shows.
yeah, yeah, things you actually wanna be part of going on.
Yeah,
Um,
and he deserves it.
yeah,
And yes, the other artist, Manni Lewd,
right.
been working closely with him, and yeah, he's become a good friend of mine too. Just really dope to work with and
So when you say
super
working with, are you
talented.
talking like he's been recording a lot at your
Yeah,
place there,
he
or
records. Yeah, records out of here.
okay,
Um, shoot content together.
yeah.
Right now we're just banding together with a few other artists and creating our own little ecosystem within ourselves
Where did he
because
come from? How'd you guys link up? Is he Calgary based forever and
yeah,
ever, or
he's
okay.
been born and raised Calgary.
Oh,
Well, not born. He was born in Ethiopia, I believe.
oh, okay.
The whole if you look on my Instagram and his, uh, last year we did a whole like episode series of it was to promote a track that he was putting out, but the track really spoke to like who he is. It's called the Whistle Joint,
Okay.
and Manny's like the whistle in your ear saying like keep going.
Mhm.
Like I started going to the gym with him, and I was like, "Who is this guy? Why is he so supportive and, like, wants to see me win?" It was strange
Man,
because usually you're like, "What do they want?"
the world needs
But
more people like that, dude.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and so it was an honor to, like, showcase that for him, to the audience of the world where we got, testimonials from other artists. He got to tell his story on where he came from and what got him into music,
Nice.
and
Uh,
that ties into when you hear the song, you're like, "Oh, this is Manny, and if I need to talk to Manny, I can throw on this record." And that was the whole objective behind it was to like show who he is so that people not only fall in love with his music but who he is as a person.
have you learned? much engineering for different artists like this? Like, is it kind of new recording different artists for you?
Yeah, I mean, the last 4 years, it started when I first moved back to Calgary recording for other artists, and I'm self-taught, so
Yeah,
a lot of it comes from my peers that I've worked with in the past when I was signed to the label, and just learning as I go. Has been Element from 399 has been a huge influence and help in that regard, taught me a lot. He's the one that got me on Ableton
nice.
and kinda showed me the ropes, and so whenever he came out and got new tips and tricks from the industry people he was connecting with, he would share it, and that was a piece that I'll forever be grateful for because it taught me that the gatekeeping of information, it's corny. It's so corny,
Yeah,
and we don't need to be like, if you're not gonna tell someone, they can go find out the information. You just look like a jerk for
like a
not
hater.
sharing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
and there's enough of that in the water. We like the people are sipping on the Kool-Aid for too long, and they're not like, so I'm forever grateful for him opening up his doors and his network to me and kicking game the way he has, because I wouldn't be the producer, engineer, or artist that I am today if it wasn't for a lot of his insight. I would have been somewhere there, but like he's helped me so much. So I give a lot of love and credit to L for that.
I feel like, as an MC transitioning to engineering for other MCs, it helps a lot if you've, got the basis that you've been home recording yourself and you know kind of things that work for you to kind of suggest to other people. It sounds
Yeah,
like, at least the three we just talked about, K.Stone, Ben Ugly, and Manni Lewd, probably are, developed enough themselves as artists that they don't need too many pointers on how to conduct themselves. But do you find that being an MC kinda helps with engineering for other MCs?
100%.
Yeah,
I've never gone on any publication and said I'm the greatest or anything like that, but I will say that I know I'm very talented when it comes to how I present myself on the mic.
yeah,
And that came from one of my first professional studio sessions where he was the guy that signed us to his label. And I drove back. I was on a Greyhound coming back from Vancouver, and I wrote all my verses for the project and go right to his studio after I get off the Greyhound, had a coffee. And he's like, "You had a coffee, didn't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "We're probably gonna have to record this tomorrow." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, it's just not good for your voice." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's try."
yeah,
And he's just like, "Nope, do it again. I don't believe you. No, again, I don't believe you." And he's like, "Let's just come back tomorrow." And it was the "I don't believe you." And that part of being an artist that I learned now translates in when I'm recording.
yeah,
Like I said earlier, I don't wanna be feeling like I'm reading along with you on a piece of paper.
right,
I wanna feel what you're saying. If you're struggling with something and you're trying to rap about it, I wanna hear that agony in your voice. If you're sad or empathetic about something, I wanna hear that. I wanna hear how, and that's why people love artists like Kendrick. I wanna hear that switch,
right.
and when you're saying something and then you contradict it or what you truly are trying to say.
So are your
And if
relationship with these guys you're working with good enough that you can critique like that? Because MCs are, like we were saying earlier, very ego driven a lot of the time, and they don't wanna hear a critique of their shit, I feel like, some of the time.
Doobyis, I've let's just say you've seen my journey the last couple of years. There's been a few artists that I've worked with in the past that have become a case study for me.
Mhm.
Okay, so I've learned a lot from the shortcomings of certain relationships, and I know what I'm getting into. So I use the rule of thumb of like 3 strikes, and it's like pitch an idea, see how they respond. If they're receptive to it and they appreciate it, keep going. Second
Right.
one, clear the air. Hey, I'm not trying to kill your vibe, man. Let's try this. What about if we give it, it's better to have it than to not have it, and we can see how it sounds later.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, but if an artist is like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm, okay. You know what you're doing.
No, that
All
was the
right.
take, we're keeping it. Alright, sure.
But I'm
Uh,
also okay with that because at the end of the day, they're the ones paying for it.
yeah.
They're getting extra value when they take my advice and we work together, but they're in essentially sometimes overpaying if they don't want anything,
Yeah.
if
Well,
they
and
don't want any of
ultimately,
my input.
their name is gonna be on the song or whatever.
Yeah,
They're they should have the control. Uh,
here's an example. So when I first started working with Ben, there was a song. Um, to keep going, so he had this song where it sounded better when he was just kind of like talk rapping it,
Okay, yeah.
and I was like, you know the Grudge? And he's like, yeah, why? And I was like, rap your whole voice or your whole song like that, uh, like with that
Right.
raspiness.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, no, and I'm like, just give it a shot. I
And
mean,
here, have this
worst
cup
case
of
scenario,
coffee too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, worst case scenario, it doesn't sound good, right? And then we recorded it. I put it behind, like I had it present in the first bit, and then when the beat drops, it goes back to his performance take. And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, find whoever you always share your music with, show it to them or bring them to the studio and get their opinion. I'm like, you just met me,
Yeah.
so my opinion might sound biased or like I don't know what I'm talking about, but get your closest friend or whatever, come into the studio, get their opinion on it. And I was like, "What do you think of this or this?" And they're like, "I like the other one." And I looked at him and Ben goes, he's like, "I fucking hate you, man. You were right." And I'm like, "That's okay. I'm fine with you hating me, but, like, for the sake of the record, that's the best artists understand that it's not about what they want, it's about what the record needs.
Yeah.
So anything that I put in for input or, ideas is just, complimentary, and that's my key word, is I'm just trying to complement whatever I can do to complement what you got going on, we're winning."
Yeah. Man, I my entire time as a rapper have always wished that I had a producer who would give feedback like that to me. I worked a lot with DJ Dice, and frankly, he likes beats. He doesn't give a fuck what's being said over top of them. So like, he's helpful in the way that like he's gonna be able to hit record while I'm in the booth, and like, he's fun to work with. We're good friends. But he
Mhm.
doesn't give a fuck, and he won't critique my lyrics like ever. I can't say he's ever told me to redo anything. So it's all on me to decide, like, was that the take? I don't know. And I
Yeah.
wish that I could find somebody that I was so Baggy Lean, DJ Baggy Lean and I were talking about putting a project together here. And, I told them, like, I want feedback though. I don't want you to fucking let me be whack on anything. Fucking tell me.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
too many eyes on now for me to be putting out whack shit. So I need you to tell me. And he was like, "Oh, I'm no good at that." And I was like, "Fuck, man, I can't find anybody. None of my homies will fucking tell me anything is wrong with anything that I've done." But yeah, I will continue to hunt. Maybe I'll have to come up and work some with you, man.
Dude, I mean this when I say it. If you're in Calgary, like, you got sessions on me, bro. I'd love to work with you,
Yeah,
and
let's
just
do it,
to
buddy. That would
provide
be
that
fun.
experience,
Yeah.
I'm so down.
Hell
Or
yeah.
even when I'm doing my sales, because 'cause I'm covering all of Alberta with this stuff, so I'll be in Lethbridge soon enough, and I could bring my mobile setup, invite you to the hotel or come to you,
Yeah.
and we can cook.
This I'm sitting in the studio right now. The booth's over there, so we could definitely
Sick.
cook up here. Yeah. Dude, I wanted to ask you though, like when you're producing for different people that you've been working with, you're making the beats, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm right in thinking. Okay, so
So there are artists, like Manny brings a lot of beats,
yeah, I'm
with
sure
him,
some of the time
um
it's yeah.
but almost everyone that I've been recording, they at least have a few beats for me.
Okay, so
Like K.Stone worked on a bunch of beats with him, but then he just took control of it, and I'm just like, he's like, "Yo, you killed that production." I'm like, "Bro, you basically produced it too, man." I'm like, "I just did a few things," and he's like, "Yeah, but that was fire." And I'm like, "Well, that's how I did it." I'm like, "Just continue." 'Cause part of it is like as a mentor, you don't really get far for the artist if you're doing all the work,
right,
you know?
yeah. So how much of your own kind of Sarafin sound are you putting into these beats that you're making, and how much are you asking them what they want to hear and kind of trying to give them that?
Um, K.Stone was very much anything that he wanted, we did. When it comes to creating beats, I don't like making replicas of beats or like remaking certain beats or,
Right. Yeah.
yo, can you make a beat that sounds like this? It's just an honest approach.
Yeah.
I'll pull up my software. I'll look at maybe through some samples, try chopping something up, try using a chord generator, really just kinda encompass what the artist, if they're with me, like, what are we feeling? Are we feeling hype? Are we feeling sad? And I'll start playing something, and I'll do the whole, like, stare at the artist while I'm playing it. "Do you like this? Do you like this? No? Okay, next
Yeah.
song."
Yeah.
So and I'll start making a beat, and some artists hate this about me, start making a beat, and I don't see where it's going, but they're like, "Oh, I'm going in," and I'm like, "Are you cool if we start another beat?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'll send this to you then," you know?
Okay, yeah,
And that's I just try to have an honest approach when it comes to production because I'm not the I can't hear what key everything is like some people.
sure.
I'm more of like a Rick Rubin, so to speak. Um, so I just try to use that approach in all
I don't know
honesty
if
when I'm
that's a good
making beats.
comparison. I don't think Rick Rubin ever has his hands on keys. I think he, like, sleeps on a couch and tells people what does or doesn't sound good. I don't think he can play anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I can't really play anything myself, but I rely on like I was saying, chord generators, just trusting my ear and sample chopping and yeah,
yeah,
like I know in the past, Arcade and Splice have been really helpful for me, just getting core ideas down.
right.
But my end goal is to work with like session players. Um, if I ever got a grant or access to a studio to fund an album, it would be that. It would be working in a room with different session players and creating a sound that, like, spoke to my soul.
That would be super dope. Yeah, K.Stone told me I think it was like a cello he told you he wanted on his song because he had been to some fucking camp with a bunch of, like, orchestra players or something, and so he came
Yeah,
out of that knowing more about music, and yeah, so he told the story about, getting you to put cello on something, but yeah,
yeah. "We
uh,
need the cello."
it's gotta be organic, right? You gotta have,
Yep,
that input from both people, I think is gonna give the best product. Um,
yeah.
dude, would you work with anybody who wants studio time, or are you trying to work with people whose music you feel? Like, most engineers that I know anyways kind of work with, like, a select group of homies, unless we're talking about, like, NATO or somebody like that who's gonna
Yeah.
record anybody who has money to.
Um, I'm a little bit of both. I've built relationships with artists that, appreciate my thoroughness and my ability to, like you said, listen to the lyrics, listen to what's being said, and really create a different sound for them than they're used to.
Yeah,
So I work with all types of artists. I don't believe like, yes, there can be times where you're like, "Oh, man, this is like, what did I get myself into?" But if I can make someone's experience better and give them insight as to what they can expect elsewhere, I think it sets a good standard for them to kinda learn from, you know?
yeah, yeah, word, man. Um, I've so knowing a lot of different engineers over the years, I've also heard horror stories of people bringing people into their house who then, you know,
Did someone tell you to ask this?
no, no, actually, no. This is just a cold question, but,
Okay,
I
okay,
know people, who have told me horror stories of the people that they have brought over to record, and, I think hip hop tends to draw people who might not be the most upstanding members of society, right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
there's some criminals in hip hop, and, bringing them into your place of where you live and work, where you have a ton of expensive equipment
yeah.
can result in robberies and shit, can result in fucking, people passing out and pissing on your couch or whatever. Like,
Oh, wow.
I've heard some
No.
stories,
I've been very grateful to not have anything like that, like I live back with my parents now after being on my own for a while, and it's been super helpful, but at the same time too, like, I'm very selective with who I invite over.
mm,
More recently, there was a guy that I recorded with, and he's like, "Yeah, my friend, he's going back home, he wants to record." I was like, "Yeah, no problem." And he shows up, and he's, like, the only one that speaks a little bit of English, and then the rest of them, he's introducing me later on, he's like, "This guy is a professional fighter. This guy is a professional fighter, and him? Yeah, he's also a professional fighter." I'm like, "Sick." And the guy recording doesn't know a lick of English, and I'm trying to, like, translate it on my phone, and they're older too, older than me, and I'm like, "Yeah." My mom was, like, lighting sage upstairs, and the fire alarm went off, and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's my mom." And then they go, "Madre, madre." And I was like, what was gonna happen if my mom wasn't here? And, like,
yeah.
in my stoned, you know, paranoid mind. But the session went perfect, they loved the product that came out of it, and I
Sounds
was
like your
just
mom caught the vibe and was, like, trying to clear the evil from the house. You know?
God bless her, man.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
like, I grew up, having, like my parents would let me have house parties because 'cause they'd rather me be home than out in the world.
Right.
Um, and yeah, there was some parties that got absolutely trashed. Like people came in that weren't invited and tried to ruin the party. And I had to live from those experiences. And that's when I was young and going out into the world. Like I'm very grateful and fortunate that I lived in Vancouver and Toronto and didn't get involved in any of the bullshit that exists in either of those cities. Um, and so I just want to keep that energy fresh and real being back home in Calgary because you attract the wrong crowd, you get the wrong experiences. And I've always just advocated for being supportive of people, complimenting their work, and trying to get ahead of the game.
Yeah,
And a lot of the artists that I work with um, truly do respect and honor the experience that I've had in the industry. So it becomes like a hand in hand, like mutual respect thing.
definitely. Yeah,
Um,
respect is a
yeah,
two-way street and all that, right? People
yeah.
people can see it. Um, dude, I wanted to ask you just in general, is there a trend in the underground scene? I don't know, Canadian, Calgary, whatever you want to talk about, even just hip hop underground that you like, or a trend you don't like? Anything pop into your mind for either of those?
Trend that I like and a trend that I don't like.
Yeah.
I think, like I said before, everything just comes to Calgary to die. So when I start seeing Calgary artists do something that they've seen on TV or the internet, I'm like, oh, this is nearing its end. I'm kidding, but at first it was the content creation was a little bit, yeah, it just was kind of like, ah, really, like we all got to do this. But then it's like getting your first 10,000 streams on your song. It's like once you see the results of what building content does and you get sucked into or pulled into the actual thinking of marketing and branding a project, you're like, yeah, I should be doing 20 videos for this one song
Yeah.
because I get the results. So I think the the fad that I'm seeing in Canadian artists is just gonna be the one that I don't like is the talent exceeds super exceeds everything. So they should love me. I'm dope. The conceitedness, the ego.
Right.
Um,
More
yeah, we
talent
talked
than
about
work
it.
ethic.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the guy on here that's saying that artists shouldn't rap about the things that they rap about because the first artist you pick out is probably the artist that's actually doing it. So
Yeah, right. They're out there.
it's
Yeah.
it's fine. Rap about what you want to rap about, but just understand that you're a business, you're a brand, and you can market yourself in any way you choose. But that's your choice. And then same goes with the fans. Like they don't have to love everything you do, but they'll play that one song when they go party.
Right.
And so I think like what on that note, it's just my biggest suggestion and advice is just stay true to you.
Yeah.
Be authentic to yourself. Do the things, steal from the artist that you like, but put it into your own words. Shed light on your own experiences because ain't nobody looking at this life the same way that you are, unless
Yeah.
you're copying someone. Then don't copy, mother.
Yeah. 100%, man. Okay. So I don't know if you've seen this segment before, but I do. How important is it's kind of just rapid fire unless you feel like ranting about it, but it just opens the door to how important is this or how important is that conversation starter kind of topics.
Okay,
How important is an in-person studio session with the producer?
very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want me to explain why?
Sure. Yeah. Give us a why.
Okay, very important because that producer can work with your vocals, with what you're saying. They can add more things, they can take away things,
Yeah.
and that's what makes a real producer. Being in the studio with a beat maker, the beat makers can do the same thing, and then he turns into a producer at that point. So if
Right.
you're a beat maker and you want to become a producer, hop into those studio sessions. Then
Yeah.
you're a producer.
Good advice, man. Good advice.
Yeah,
How important is competition in hip hop?
competition is important, important.
Important.
Um, but
Yeah. You see.
honestly, you see, son, it's very important. Um, But I do think that hip hop, carries a lot of negative, backlash when it comes to competition because of ego, because of, people not understanding lines in the sand. They get washed away. Um, you have artists talking on things that they shouldn't talk about or wouldn't say to somebody's face that they go on a record saying. So I think competition is fine. is good. A lot of it, like we've seen in wrestling, it's how they get the views in. We can talk about the conspiracy of the Drake and Kendrick thing being a plant job, and that all that stuff. It gets people talking, it gets the conversation going.
Yeah.
But I've always said, like my first interview with WH was, there's competition, but the best way to get competition is to hop on a track with your favorite artist locally or whoever you think is the best,
Yeah.
and the community determines who has the better verse.
Right.
And the competition is between the fans deciding who is the better is who's the GOAT, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Well, I grew up in the LeBron James era and I've seen what he's been doing. So
Yeah.
I personally will say LeBron James. But that's the competition. They're not doing a one on one,
Right.
but we're competing against who's better, Michael Jordan or who's the bigger GOAT.
Well, or J and M on Renegade or whatever. People can still
Exactly.
debate this shit, but really, it's just two MCs doing their best to make a dope song. In
Yeah.
the end, yeah,
And then competition becomes numbers after that, and so,
right.
yes, it's good, it's healthy, but it's when it's left on wax. When it gets put into drill music and, the more aggressive side of hip hop, it becomes very toxic and it hurts communities.
Violent.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
we know we need to stop seeing that kinda stuff, but it's some places, it's all they know, it's a way of life,
yeah.
and I'm grateful to have the perspective to know the difference and not have to not have a choice, um, because I'm not gonna pull a Kanye and say it's everyone has a choice, but it's like sometimes you're raised in, and that's what I learned from going to, working in indigenous communities is like a lot of things, trauma freezes people,
Yeah,
and a lot of people are still unthawing. So
definitely,
you
man.
can't just put a blowtorch to it and say be better.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
I
takes a
uh,
lot.
I learned that same lesson working at a supervised consumption site for a few years, working with
Yeah.
people on the streets who were coming in and had a lot rougher lifestyle than I have ever had to live. That's for sure. But yeah, man, let's go on with some more of these. We'll do how important is the ability to freestyle?
Oh, come on, man. That's if you ain't freestyling, what are you doing, man? You're just freestyling your career at that point. No, I'm playing. But no, it's very important because it gets that organic response from the artist. Um I encourage every artist should be at least practicing freestyling.
Yeah.
Whether you're what is it? There's a website that just gives you prompts. Um
A lot of people tell me that like freestyling is important because I ask these questions to everybody. That's what this segment is about, getting different
yeah.
answers to the same questions. And a lot of guys have said that like it's important because when you're on stage, if you fuck up, you got to be able to freestyle. And
Yeah, I've saved my ass many times by just freestyling the venue name, and then everyone goes crazy because I
sure,
just incorporated my verse to
right.
suit them.
Yeah, yeah. Or
I
name
was I
the
was gonna
shirt that
say though,
somebody's wearing or something. The website. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's called Rap Script.
Okay.
The Rap Script, it just puts up random words. You can choose difficulty on the words, and then it gives you a SoundCloud playlist of random beats,
Nice.
and it just filters through the words. I found out that about like 8 years ago, maybe. But before that, I was just recording freestyles on my phone, the voice memos, and then when I'm on the bus, that's all I'm listening to. I'm listening back to my records, and for the longest time, I didn't know what new music was coming out because I was just constantly listening to everything I was creating,
Yeah.
trying to dissect it, trying to better understand how I could do better. And those pieces really helped me create the artist that everyone hears today as Sarafin
Yeah.
because I dissected the crap out of my own stuff, and the freestyle game was my introduction to that honest response to a lot of the music that I was listening to.
Makes sense, man. How important is winning industry awards?
Local?
Any level. I judged the Junos this year, so I'm running around telling
Sick,
everybody that.
congrats.
Yeah.
No, I think, accolades and, accomplishments should always be recognized. Um, there is, like, consolation prizes and participation awards that I don't agree with, um, and I do believe on certain levels, like all accomplishments and awards should be graded on a merit of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Just getting votes that you can get people to spam online doesn't really cut it for me. Um, And then it goes back into the conversation about, like, the whole, auditioning for shows, for major shows. So, like, what we see in Calgary, the whole, audition to perform at the Stampede. So my bone to pick with that is, like, you're one of the biggest, companies in the city when it comes to nightlife, but you don't see who's doing what. You aren't looking at numbers, you aren't like, at this point, they could have already created an artist that is their main opener for a lot of these and for each genre,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, to get people to come in and pay and then go through these loops, and then to me, it's like, yes, I see that aspect of why they do it, but at the same time, we're struggling to develop a defined sound in our city, a defined leadership, the hype, and it doesn't get built by getting people to audition,
yeah,
in my opinion. So, like, I do believe that there's things that can be fixed, but, going back to your question, it is important when it's graded on the right merits.
that makes sense. Yeah, 100%. And, even though I got to be part of the Junos this year, there was still discussion afterwards about, uh so they used 10 judges to decide who the noms would be, and then the winners from those nominations weren't decided by the judges. So,
There's a
conversation
different
I
group of
was
judges?
yeah, it was the winner was decided by, every CARA's member, the people that organize the Junos. You can pay to become a CARA member, CARA member, and
Yeah,
they vote on who the winners were. So, I was talking to some people from the rap advisory panel that advises the CARAs and the Junos, and
yeah.
that was how I got uh, into the judging. And then after the thing had been announced, the sentiment was kind of like, well, why bother having us choose who should be nominated if then they're just going to give it to somebody who probably wouldn't have been who we had chose.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it is what it is, but, I definitely hear you on that one. It depends who's giving the awards and what,
The
what
merits.
the merits you have for
Yeah.
it are, yeah, what the rating system is. Um, Dude, I wanna ask you one more of these how important questions. How important is the quality of your studio gear? Like, you know, does the $1,200 microphone really matter compared to the $400 microphone?
Yes.
Okay. So very important?
I mean,
'Cause
y
so just
yes
to
and no,
play
right?
devil's advocate on the other side, I think that there is an argument to be made that, like, um, of course, the better gear is gonna be more expensive, and you're gonna
Yeah.
get better sound quality out of it. But I think the argument against it is, I don't know if the listener cares. I don't know if the listener cares, the average listener.
The average listener is used to things sounding clean and comprehensive.
Right.
So, if you're able to get a clean and comprehensive take from any equipment, that's fine. But it just goes back to the whole, like, you could shine a turd, but it's still a turd kind of thing.
Sure,
And it
yeah.
all goes back to the performance. So if the artist has a good performance and the take is clean and it's comprehensive, yeah, you can get away with almost anything and everything in that realm,
Yeah.
right? But we've heard stories of records being recorded on iPhone headphones.
Right.
So
That's the thing. You hear about songs like that blowing up, and plugins are so good now that you
yeah,
can you can do a lot with plugins for sound quality. So, yeah.
yeah. I mean, for me, it takes away from a lot of the work afterwards. It's like I got an Apollo Twin and the Neumann 103. So for me, it's like that's just getting rid of, like, for me, I'll use like a certain EQ and compressor. That's taking away a bit of the work that I'm already doing
Right.
in the box, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I do think that it has its benefits, but if you know what you're doing and you can get a clean and comprehensive take, then you can be recording on this thing or something less.
Right. Yeah. All right, man. Well, shit, we're coming up on 2 hours. I appreciate you spending all this extra time with me. Normally, these things are an hour, a little bit over, but I got a few questions I just ask everybody as the outro. Can you describe the local scene, your local hip hop scene?
Calgary's local hip hop scene is thriving, with potential and is eager to reach the world.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of talent in the city. They just need the proper platform to get themselves out there. And if it's going to take you to build a bunch of content, record with different producers or engineers, or just build the right team, you
Yeah.
know, never stop, because I've been in this game starting out in Calgary when I was 13, so almost 20 years now, or over 20 years, and I haven't quit. I've seen a lot of people come and go, and you just got to keep going because you never know who you're gonna meet, what you're gonna do, the song you might write next. Just be honest with yourself and true to the process,
Yeah.
because creativity is what makes us all different. And Calgary has a lot to offer in that regard. So in the next couple years, you're gonna see a lot more coming out of Calgary, but you're also gonna see more of a defined sound.
Nice. Looking forward to it, man. Any artists on the scene who we haven't mentioned already that people should be up on? You feel like giving a shout out to?
Um, yeah, I mean, just the squad,
Yeah, we already named a
Manni
few.
Lewd,
Yeah.
Manni Lewd, Ben Ugly, K.Stone, um, K.Quan, Prophet, Bijan, the homie K Riz. Uh, Shout out to Yolanda, Sergeant and Comrade,
Yeah.
um, Half Cut, Cuddy. I know I'm missing some people, but all my peoples, I got love for you, and I'm always around. So yeah, keep an eye out for them, and we're all gonna be cooking something soon.
Hell yeah, man. This is like one of those breathe it into existence questions. Any Canadian artists you'd like to collaborate with who you haven't yet worked with?
Ooh. I I really been dying to collaborate with Fresh Kills because I
Yeah.
met him a long time ago, and he was always such a breath of fresh air to talk with and be around.
Yeah. He seems
Um,
like good people the few times
yeah,
I've talked to him. Yeah.
really good people, and he's connected with my Toronto network too. Um, yeah, I mean, I would love to work with Terrell Safadi. It's been a minute since I've seen him. Bunch of Vancouver artists too that I'm like in the works of working with. And really just I don't know, I need to find some more artists, I think, too, because I could say Don Toliver, Drake, and stuff like that, but
Yeah. No, somebody, I
yeah.
think it was Quake, said like Alanis Morissette, Justin Bieber, and Drake or something. It was
Yeah.
just named three super famous people.
He's not wrong.
Yeah,
He's not
no,
wrong.
that'd be good for anybody. Any plans for shows or tours or anything else that we can plug for anybody who's watching?
Not at the moment,
Yeah,
just, Source Volume 2 will be out, end of spring,
right on.
and artists explore that direct to consumer stuff because as an independent, you need some sort of funding coming in, and do your thing.
Yeah, man. Where can people find you on social media? You got a .com? I feel like to go direct to consumer, you should have a .com. No?
I should, right? But, I've put a hold on my .com. It's a .ca.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I need to redo it, so I'll just give you my Instagram, which is Sarafin Music. Catch me on, all those despicable streaming services, Sarafin.
Yeah.
And you can catch a link to the Source Volume 1 in my bio on my Instagram.
Beautiful, man. This has been a fun chat. I enjoyed having you on the show, man.
Likewise, man, and I'll be sending people your way soon. Thanks for having me. It's always good chatting with you.
Hell yes. Catch you next time, man. Peace. All right. Wait a second here. There we go. Now I'm on screen. So coming up next week, lots more interviews. I'm scheduled all the way until the end of June now. Next week, I'm talking to Winnipeg-based artist, not the one with the Ferrari, but Winnipeg-based artist Len Bowen. April 28th, I talked to Ezza of Choom Gang. He's out in Niagara Falls. very dope. Looking forward to that. May 5th, Tone Chop and Frost Gamble. I've talked to Frost Gamble before, but this time Tone Chop is going to join us. They've got an album called Beautiful Foundations coming up very soon. Yeah, I don't think it's out just yet. Singles for it are out already. I've played some on AtSick. May 12th, I'm talking to OP Yeti. He is a Victoria-based guy, dope MC, makes, very. I'm deep. It's music that goes a little bit beyond surface level. Definitely OP Yeti's stuff. Looking forward to that. May 19th, like I said, Half Cut and Call the God will be on. Talk about their album, The Relentless 2, and what's coming up next, and everything else. May 26th, talking to more from Calgary, who we forgot to mention. Shouts to Cold Camp, The Dirty Sample, and Chaka Boy. They will be on May 26th. And then June 2nd, Deuce Fantastic up in Edmonton. June 9th, Ghost Boy RJ out in Toronto. June 16th, talking to Meyer Clarity and Fresh Kills about their new collabo album. They're Toronto-based artists, if you didn't know. June 23rd, I talked to Def 3, Vancouver-based artist, who I spoke with just before he was ready to go out and do a bunch of festival shows with his new kind of blend of boom bap lyricism over top of EDM production. And looking forward to talking to him and hearing how that has been going. I think very well, because it's pretty dope. And then June 30th, I talked to K Blitz, another Edmonton-based MC. And after that, I'll be taking 2 months off to go chill on a beach somewhere. But I appreciate people coming back every Tuesday. I'm over here, twitch.tv/Doobyis. If you want to hear music by all these people I talk to every week, I play an hour of new independent Canadian hip-hop, 100% Canadian hip-hop. I never play anything twice. It's always new release stuff. So music discovery is the main focus of my show after the smoke is clear, or AtSick is the acronym for it, AtSick Radio. You can find the archives for that if you go to mixcloud.com/Doobyis. And of course, Doobyis.com is the hub for everything that I do. You can find all the interviews, all the mixes, my music, all that good stuff over there. Catch me on the socials. Let me know if you enjoy the interviews. Hit like, tell a friend, leave a comment, all that stuff. I appreciate the hell out of people who do. And join us in live chat. It was slow tonight. There were a few guests in live chat. I appreciate y'all chiming in, but the more the merrier. So come through for the next one. Always on Tuesdays here on Twitch. Have a good one.